Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to talk about a couple of things I wanted to answer from previous video and what game we have forthcoming for our group. So first and foremost, I'm going to answer the riddle that is on the mind of everyone. What does the name page 121 come from? Well, Kenton Kilgore got it. One of the subscribers got it. It is from the Dungeon Master Guide, page 121, which is where the listing for the various magic items begins. It's the AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide. I think mine's the fourth print. To me, D&D begins, the fun begins with the magic items, even over the magic spells and character abilities. I love the magic items. I love giving them out to player characters. I love how they can change and shape a character. I really like the magic items, and for me, the magic begins there. And since I wanted something for page 121 that pertained to my love of gaming, especially AD&D, I thought nothing better than page 121 of the Dungeon Master Guide to be my focal point. So there you have it. That's where page 121 comes from. A couple of the other comments that I've gotten on my last couple of videos is, why do I leave the words and ah in my videos so much? Sometimes I misspeak and I go back over and correct myself. The answer is, I'm human. I'm doing this unscripted. I'm doing this intentionally unscripted. I'm far too wooden when I read from a script, and I tend to read too fast. I try to do these videos in the exact same style I DM a game. Whether it's Traveler, Champions, AD&D, whatever game it is, I try to DM in a very relaxed, natural fashion. I don't do goofy voices. I might do one to start out the character, but as my players know, I then immediately abandon it. I am not a gifted voice person. Both my sons are. I'm not. I cannot do impressions. I don't even try. I'll give a voice to give an idea of something, but then I'll move on. And as far as correcting myself, well, sometimes you misspeak. We're all human. Sometimes you do misspeak. I was in a game years and years ago with a DM who we were about fourth level characters, and we went into the dungeon room, and he said, inside are 20 kabuls. And there were about 5 of us in the party. We went, 20 kabuls. And we slammed the door, we ran down the hall, and got into a secure place and got ready for the onslaught of these horrific kabuls. And the DM was kind of puzzled and gave us a strange look and said, what are you guys doing? I said, well, we ran. We don't. He said, well, why'd you run? It's just kabuls. We said, we don't know what kabuls are. He said, these. And he held up a picture of the kobolds. Once we knew there were kobolds, 1 to 4 hit point, half hit dice creatures, we went in and just took care of the business. So I leave the misspeak in because the misspeaks can sometimes be funny. I once made a reference to Flash Gordon marrying Gail Gordon instead of Gail Harden. Gail Gordon, of course, being Mr. Mooney from the Lucy show, and a buddy of mine had an absolute blast with that for a few years. So the idea of Gail Gordon being crowned Queen of Mongo. But I digress. So that's why I leave my misspeaks in. I just had one for King versus Queen because I feel it leaves it more natural. I feel the channel is just, this is how I want to do it. I realize it's not everyone's cup of tea, and it is not the most professional way to do it. I'm not going for that. I'm going for if you sat down with some friends and you were playing a game. That's what I want to have in my videos. So I hope you like it. If you don't, well, that's fine. I make no apologies. And now moving on, our group. This week's game is going to be our annual Halloween game. I call these Walpurgis Night. The Walpurgis game goes back to 1982. I started it in an old club I belonged to back then. And the idea was that some players felt their characters were unkillable. I wanted to dispel that myth. So I came up with the idea of I would run a game where I would kill your character. It doesn't count. It's not in the campaign. It's just silly. But the challenge is I have to kill it before our game time runs out. Or you get bragging rights, and I would even give a magic item or something in-game if your character actually managed to survive. This game became very popular at that club to the point that the last time I ran at the club in 1985, I had 24 players at the table. We set up 3 big 8-foot banquet tables, and I walked in the center. We set them in a U shape, and I walked in the center like you see the old chess masters at group chess games, and screamed myself hoarse for 4 hours. And that's the only time people did survive Walpurgis. I had so many people in there, 4 got out alive, and 2 of them got out alive simply by hiding. I didn't have time to kill them, so I have had 4 player characters survive. I killed 20 that night, but it was a lot of fun. So for Walpurgis itself, the origin of the word Walpurgis is Eastern European, primarily. It takes place toward the end of April, on or about April 30th, I believe, and it's like our Halloween, Samhain, the Eve of St. George, the thinning of the barrier between the world of the living and the dead, where evil things can stalk our lands, so you want to hide from them or dress like them, so they believe that you're one of them and don't take you back to hell if they see that you're a normal person. So that's some of the history of it. I chose Walpurgis because it was unusual. I didn't want to call it the Halloween game. I wanted it to be something else, and I wanted to grab people's attention. So it's been Walpurgis all through the years. This is around number 40 I've run. There have been 1 or 2 years I've skipped Walpurgis for various reasons. Walpurgis is a tremendous amount of prep on my part to get the game ready, and there have been a few years I haven't had the time to put into it. And then a few years I've just done Halloween themed games, and I simply call them Walpurgis games. But the overwhelming majority, 30 or so, of my Walpurgis games are the Walpurgis Slaughterfest games. Our player Roy and I met in a Walpurgis game I did at a local club back in the 90s, and I never saw anybody laugh so hard when I killed their character. And I thought, this guy's all right. I'm going to see if he wants to join our group. Roy's been with us for about 25 years now. So that's the game that's coming up. I have a 6-hour window for this one, which is double what we usually play. We usually play a 3-hour game from 7 to 10 on a weeknight. We're playing tomorrow, Saturday, and we're playing from 2 to 8. I have plenty of time to have a lot of fun. The idea behind killing the characters is not simply to kill them by hit points. I try to come up with innovative ways to kill them within the context of the D&D rules. So I've had vampire monks who every time they punched you did damage and drained you 2 levels. I believe I talked about that in my other Walpurgis video. The blood cloud I mentioned in the other Walpurgis video. That's a swarm of Sturgis that hits you and just drains down. I think it was like 8x8 damage per round that you're in the blood cloud. The way they got the person out of the blood cloud kind of killed the patient. They hit it with a fireball. They forgot he'd be in the fireball. Somehow they thought he wouldn't be affected. He failed a saving throw, and that was my first kill of Walpurgis that year. So anyway, that's the game that's coming up. I'm very excited about it. I've come up with a couple of very interesting ideas. I can't say them because my players watch my channel, so I can't give any previews away, but I will be doing a recap. I'll be posting that on October 29th, which would be a week from today, and is the 1-year anniversary of my first Walpurgis video, which is also the 1-year anniversary of page 121. So as a little celebration of the anniversary of my channel, I'm going to do a recap on Walpurgis. I will take some video and some pictures of the layout that I'm going to use, the dungeon layout. If you've been with my channel a while now, you know that I do 3D layouts. I make my own dungeon pieces, as well as I have old Dwarven Forge sets and things like that. So I'll be setting up a massive layout for the players, and it should be a lot of fun. So that's really all I wanted to say in today's video. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments, please comment below. And if you like what you saw, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on page 121.